So let's just recap that before I go to the next couple of little techniques that you can use. So we've been talking about modulating to the neighboring key on the circle of fifths, which is something that you can just practice. Do a lot of like exercises with some of your existing themes, or just write some new themes or chord progressions and practice ways to just modulate on the next into the next key on the circle of fifths. Just get comfortable with how this works because it's a very effective tool. Now, at the end here, there's another little kind of bonus thing that I want to show you guys. Let's listen to the end. So that final chord that really lifts the ending a little bit. We're going to dive into the actual project file and orchestration of this later. I just want to focus purely on harmony and the little modulation that's happening here. Just not to, use you with too many things. So the chords here are E flat major down to C minor. And usually you would go to G minor after that, like this. Because that's the chord that's in the key. We're in the key of G minor after all, so you would expect G minor to be the chord that we resolve to. But instead of going to G minor, I'm going to G major. So what it sounds like is this then. So there's a surprise major chord happening there. I'm resolving to G major instead of G minor. And, there's not really any rocket science behind that. I just like to sometimes surprise the listener. And when I'm trying to achieve some kind of lift, some kind of very magical, uplifting moment, it's nice to, put in a major chord where you might expect it to be a minor chord. And that's just a little extra tip I want to just show you. Let's listen to it once more. All right, next thing I want to show you. This is something that I think I'm also explaining in the legacy lecture of 3 practical ways of approaching modulation that you should check out. But I'm just gonna go through here as well because repetition is key to learning, guys. So let's go back to C major for simplicity's sake. Another way to just modulate is not necessarily modulating to a neighboring key, but just modulating up or down, say 2 semitones. So from C to D. And, you have to be kind of careful with this because it might sound a little bit cliche if you don't use it with, careful with it. But it can also, really give your track a little bit of a lift. Say we have a theme that goes like. Suddenly you can give that a little bit of a lift by just modulating 2 semitones up from C to D. And, it's not the best melodic example, but you can do this with any kind of theme. And those kind of things. So that's a simple way to just, really surprise the listener, lift your theme a little bit, and give it a little bit of a boost. And of course, you can also go more than a whole step. And that's going to sound even more abrupt and even more extreme, but it can also give some good results. So let's say that we want to go from, so say we want to start in C major, but we want to jump, instead of just a semitone, we go a whole third, minor third up to, oops. So what will that sound like? Well, let's say we play something random like this. Suddenly, kind of direct jump like that, a direct modulation is going to have a more extreme effect. And they all work differently. They all will give you different results. But I just want you to kind of experiment with these two types of modulations. So let's just recap this whole thing, right? First of all, we have modulations that go on the circle of fifth, which can be found by, just either working with your melody note and seeing, okay, what other chords do we have outside of my key that has this note in it? Usually that's going to be a key that's neighboring on the circle of fifths because they share a lot of the same notes. But if not, you can just look at the circle of fifths and think, all right, what's next to this one? And then modulate to that. That's going to be a smooth and seamless way to kind of lift your theme and piece a little bit. And then if you want something a bit more abrupt, you can do a direct modulation, which means you can just jump to a different key. Usually you would maybe jump a whole step up or maybe down if you want your energy to go down a little bit. Or you can just jump to any random key, but I would be careful with that because it might sound a little bit, out of place unless that's an extreme effect you're going for. But if you're going to do that, I would, try to stick to like a semitone up or a minor third up or maybe a major third up. If you're modulating to a fourth up, then you're effectively basically just modulating to the neighboring key because, it's a fifth down. So I hope that makes sense. I hope it's not too much information to take in. But I would recommend that you now write a little piece of melody or take one of your existing melodies and practice each type of modulation a few times. A direct modulation and also a modulation to a neighboring key. So that's all for now, guys. I'll see you guys later.